It's always the question about what practicing really means. For me, practicing starts as looking at the score, listening to recordings, kind of getting to know the score. It's not just sitting at the piano and learning mechanically. So that part started almost the day that I was told I would do it, which was more than a year and a half ago or something like that, maybe even more. I kind of got into the mood of the piece, got to know it, because I knew it, but I wasn't so familiar with it. So I started doing that. Of course, I had the score, I looked at it a few times. Also, to realize how much time you will need to learn it. Some pieces you can learn in one afternoon, some you need a month. I had to kind of see how difficult it was. And then the actual practicing, when you sit at the piano and start learning, that's only, I think, a few weeks before the time that you have to start rehearsing. And then you just really sit at the piano, and the way I practice, I think we're all different, but the way I practice, for me, the longest and most difficult part of it is to just learn the notes, like read, just sight read. I'm a good sight reader, but still learn all the notes, find fingerings, and that's very important, and mark them. I like to mark a lot of them. And once you've done that, it's almost like learning a language, then you kind of start playing with it, and then you really then learn it, and then you... So it's all a process that comes in different phases, really. I was told by a colleague that there actually was a performance of Shostakovich of this concerto at the piano. I knew he was a pianist, but I didn't realize he was such a great pianist, because really it's an amazing performance. And of course, to have the composer play his own composition, you would think this is how he wanted to be played, hopefully. So it can be a real good lesson for us. And there's a lot of discrepancies in the score, there's different editions, and it's always difficult to know sometimes about the tempis, and it was not clear, and about dynamics, and I said I'm going to just sit down, listen to him, and at least what he wants is hopefully what he's going to do. But it was great. It was really great. It was great help. Also about the character of the piece, also, I mean, about a lot of things, and it's a really amazing performance. It was in 1957. André Clutins is conducting. He had a conductor. And it's really, I think it's just, we wish we would have that for all the composers. It's all, I mean, there's all different kind of difficulties. People always think that just because it's fast it's difficult, but sometimes it's the slow movement that is difficult, because you have to find the right character, the right atmosphere, also the right tempo. I find that tempis are really extremely important. It can change completely the piece, and that's where Shostakovich came very, very handy, because I had some questions. I wasn't sure about some tempis that were written in the score, and I thought it was not working very well. Then I listened to him and he was doing it differently, and I said, that's great. You see, this makes sense. Now suddenly it's like having a light on something that you can finally understand. So I mean, there's a lot of technical difficulties in that piece, obviously. A few nasty cadenzas. Now that I hear him play, I understand that he could play it, so that's why he wrote it. But the rest, I think the biggest challenges are, like always with Shostakovich, rhythmic. It's a very rhythmical, you have to have really rhythmical qualities. It has to be very rigorous in the rhythm. And I think that's really very important. I think it's a rather typical Shostakovich piece. It's got beautiful moments also of peace, and I love that second movement, the slow movement. It really is that, to me, I always think of a landscape of winter, completely, snow and nothing, just white and nothing for miles and miles. You have that incredible stillness, like everything stops and time stops, and that's really what happens very often with his music. When you have the slow movements where time, you're really hanging on the time, you don't know what's going on, and I think that's really very moving, and I really like that in his music.